It's on.
Action.
Okay. All right, so today we're gonna show you how I do puppy ears. As you can see, this puppy's ears are already coming out. I've got one ear cleaned. The way I clean them is I use rubbing alcohol and a cotton swab, or a cotton ball would work too. And you can see this ear still has the tape in it. And you don't want to just rip it out. You don't want to hurt their skin. You can see she's got lots of dirt in here. So I just start rubbing it, and it's got quite a bit of rubbing alcohol on it. And it'll start coming off. Because not only you don't want to hurt them when you take them out, but you also want to have a clean ear. That's a real important part of having a good, putting ears in that last. If you've got dust or dirt in there, it's just not going to stick as well, and it's just going to come out a lot quicker. And I always go ahead and try to clean down here a little bit if I can. They like to play in the dirt, so it's good for ear hygiene. As you can see, so it's coming off here. There's a little bit of residue. I don't mind too much as long as it's not dirty. And then you can see the yarn's attached. Okay, and when I clean them, I want them to dry, so I'll kind of turn them inside out. Kind of helps them dry out. I'm gonna run through one more of cleaning here, just to get as much as we can off. There's other products you can use, like Unisolve is good for getting ear tape residue out, but rubbing alcohol works too. And I like rubbing alcohol because it helps keep it dry. It doesn't get greasy, because that'll make it hard to put new ear tape in. So now we've got a nice clean ear. Close this up, let that dry a little bit. And you can see, since they've been taped before, we already have a break, so that's nice. We want to keep it on the same break. That's because you're trying to train it. If you break it in a different place, you can actually have them stand up more. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do once I've got it clean is I use skin tack wipes. It helps make the skin in the ear real sticky, so it helps the ears last longer and the tape sticks better. But they are very sticky, so it does like to get on your hands. So I'm going to use a glove when I wipe it on the ear, because otherwise my hands are going to be sticking all over the place too. Good girl, honey. You can see it's just like a little wipe. So I'll wipe it down here on the base and up near the top. And again, I've got a little residue, which isn't ideal, but I don't mind it too much because I've been changing these ears out weekly. You just wipe it all over the ear. Girl.
Hey, come here. Gunner. Action.
Okay, so now we're gonna put tape on. So the first thing I do is I create a little base at the base of the ear. I'm using Japanese tape, which is easy to just rip into the size you want. If you're using a different tape that's not as, like the Luco tape isn't as stiff, you might have to cut it into size. So you kind of eyeball it depending on the size of the ear. This is about the size I use for a base. You know, a little smaller would be okay too, but this doesn't bother me. Easy girl. So put it inside. And you want to make sure you don't have crinkles when you place it. You want it nice and flat. Otherwise, if there's air pockets, it's not going to stay. So you want it near the bottom. You're okay, honey. You want it nice and flush with the ear, so like that. Go ahead and do the other side. Kind of the same way. And you want to make sure it's below the break is the main thing. And you don't want it too big to where it gets into here, because then you're not going to have a flush tape to the ear. Okay, so now I'm going to basically repeat that, because some people will do a tape brace to brace the ears up. I don't. I use 2 pieces of yarn, and I'll show you how I do that. I feel like it's easier and less margin for error, because if you do the wrong size and have a gap, you can't really fix it with a tape brace, but you can with the yarn because you tie it afterwards. So what I'll do is I'll make basically a matching set of braces to what I made in there. Or I'm sorry, bases. Then I'll take a piece of yarn, and what I'll do is I'll tie a knot on the end of one end here. And I try to have it where there's not much extra. That'll just help keep it in place.
Let me pull back.
Hey, baby, I have a little helper here. So what I'll do is I have the knotted end here, and I put it right in the middle of this base, like that.
Sure, flip it over.
So this is the sticky side. And
Where's
then
the
what
knot?
I'll do, the knot is right here. Right here. It's a very small knot. It's just enough so it doesn't pull through. If that makes sense.
Sure.
So then what you'll do is you'll put it in the base, the long side of the yarn facing in towards the other ear. And you're gonna put this right on top. Same idea, you want it flush. And we have a wiggly puppy and a toddler, so a little bit of a challenge here, but we can get it. Stick it to the other tape. Perfect. Okay, stop for a second. 'Cause I'll do
Okay.
Okay, let me know when you started again.
Yep.
Okay, so now I've gotten both bases with our yarn, so we got a nice little stringy looking puppy here.
Yeah.
So then we're gonna do the top part of the ear tape. Again, you might have to cut this depending on the tape you're using. I like this tape because I can just rip it how I need. So what I'll do is I want to make 2 longer strips. I'm gonna make like a cross, like this. So then what I'm gonna do, sticky side out, I'm gonna fold it in so that it's double-sided all the way around. So now it's gonna stay, and it's sticky everywhere on the outside. So this is when you'll actually tape the ear down. So this part goes on the top part of the ear. A little bit sticking out doesn't bother me. And then you want to put that, fold it onto the base right where that break is. And you'll just kind of hold it in place for a second just to let it set. Just like that. There you can see that's going to stay on there pretty nicely. Just like that. All right, go ahead and stop. Okay. All right, so now we have both ears. Bases are done. The top part's done. They're taped, so they're good there. So now we're gonna do the brace, and that's where these pieces of yarn come in. So this is where basically all you do is you kind of just tie it in a bow. So I'll do this. I like to do it to where they, especially when they're little, right to about where they touch. Easiest way for me is to do like a bow. You kind of do like a bow, and then you tie it. I always double it because it's just gonna come out if you don't. You're gonna have some extra, so you just make sure your puppy's holding still and you just cut that right off. I always put my hand first right here because puppies are wiggly, so this is where you wanna be careful. If you can have someone help you, even better. You just cut that off, and there you go. We have taped and braced ears with tape and yarn.